There are many conspiracy theories surrounding the 1973 war, the last one between Israel and multiple Arab armies. The most prominent of these is related to Yosef Alon, known as Joe, one of the founders of the Israeli Air Force. The theory is that he became a Mossad agent, and as cover, he was appointed air attaché at Israel's embassy in Washington. His assassination in front of his home in America on July 1st, 1973, is a mystery that has not been solved until today.
The conspiracy theory says that it is a war planned by then U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger with Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir and the Egyptians. The goal was Kissinger's desire to expel the Russians from the Middle East. It is believed that they planned a war in which the Egyptians would be able to regain their lost dignity from the Six-Day War by achieving a small victory by occupying parts of Sinai. There are those who believe that my father discovered the plan or discovered something related to it and was killed for this reason.
It's clear today that the war did not come as a surprise to Israel. We know this now from documents. Previously, the prevailing belief in Israel was that Egypt and Syria took us by surprise. This is not accurate, and we are confident now it is not accurate. I assume that my father, as a Holocaust refugee, as a fighter pilot with the rank of a colonel, and as a diplomat, would not have allowed the political level to ignore the warnings he received from the military level.
When the war broke out, 3 months after my father was assassinated, our mother, Deborah, who was a Yemenite, said with an intuition that proved itself time and time again. She told us when she heard the sirens for the first time, as a result of the Egyptian and Syrian raids, this is why our father was killed. She had no evidence, but after she died, we found boxes full of articles about Kissinger.
About his tours in the Middle East. Because after the war, he was welcomed and accepted in Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and Lebanon, and certainly in Israel. There were no longer Soviets here in the Middle East after the war. So for the United States, the war was a great success. Joe Alon was not important. Not important.
Joe Allen's family believes that he was made a victim, a sacrifice, and a scapegoat for politicians who were moving events in their favor at the expense of an ordinary individual.
Israel did not conduct any investigation. My mother asked the state to cooperate with the American authorities, who opened an investigation into the assassination, because the crime occurred in the United States. Therefore, the body that was authorized to investigate under the law was the United States. The FBI soon took over the investigation from the local police, which has more tools than the FBI in investigating murders. The FBI does not have high investigative capabilities for such crimes. In short, the task of investigation was not entrusted to the most appropriate party. Therefore, everything seemed very strange, and we had to resort to the Supreme Court in Israel to obligate our country to bring investigation materials from America and then provide them to us. We resorted to the Supreme Court after we had exhausted all means. We went to all the high-ranking officials we know, from the Air Force, the Ministry of Defense, the Shin Bet, the Mossad, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, all to no avail. They left us no choice.
Alon's assassination was the only one that targeted Israelis in America, and the only one that Israel never had the upper hand to solve. Rachel remembers how Israeli officials tried to dissuade her mother from pursuing the file.
My mother met Yitzhak Rabin, who was ambassador at that time, and he said to her, "Deborah, what are you doing here? Go home and take care of raising your girls." She approached all officials, requesting an investigation into the assassination of Joe Alon. The answers I got were, "Forget it, it won't bring Joe back. What's the point of opening the investigation again?" I wonder, what kind of answers are these? I even remember what one of the Air Force commanders told me when I was growing up. He said, "Many soldiers die on the battlefield, so what's the difference between them and your father?"
The family was surprised that the investigation file was closed without informing them.
My mother did not know that the file was closed at all. We discovered that by chance. An Israeli journalist contacted us and told us to reopen the file. We asked him, "What do you mean by reopening the file?" He said the file was closed 3 years after it was opened. Although the investigator told us before, usually when the FBI closes a case, it presents it to the interested parties. If they want, the results, ballistics, and reports. They simply destroyed the evidence without bringing the matter before Israel.
The neglect of the investigation by Israel and the United States represents the greatest proof to the Alon family of the credibility of the conspiracy theory.
Israel and the United States are not investigating because they know. If you know the answer to a question, there's no point investing resources in the question. So they likely know who killed Joe and why. Moreover, it's clear to us that the Americans may have carried out the assassination, especially since the Palestinian factions did not claim responsibility. If they really were behind it, they would have been proud of it and would have announced it publicly.
Here, Joe Alon was buried, and with him, his secret. The 1973 war is considered a play, the heroes of which died, were killed, or were eliminated in favor of starting a new political era in the Middle East and the world.